So I've come down here at Trebarwith Strand and it's absolutely stunning, though slightly slippy on the rocks, and the tide's coming in. You can see down there and just behind me down there. And I've got my boy with me, but he doesn't want to be in the video. So it's interesting actually, because today is what is typically called Blue Monday, and it's supposed to be a day where it's supposed to be the most kind of depressed day of the year. Apparently Mondays are typically miserable for people, and you know, because if you've had a nice weekend and you have to go back to work and sometimes you don't like your job or whatever, but apparently Blue Monday is the day where in January, where people are perhaps going back to work after having been off all over Christmas, and you know, they're perhaps in debt from having spent too much. It's still dark weather, it's cold in the northern hemisphere, that is. Yeah, and typically people feel quite miserable. So interestingly, January for me used to be a month where that I absolutely dreaded. I absolutely hated it, and you know, I would be desperate for this summer, desperate for the spring to come back, and of course I don't really feel like that anymore. It's not my favourite month of the year, just because I prefer it when the days are longer, when the light's brighter. But you know, I don't really have any reason now to dread it as such, like I used to, for all sorts of reasons. And I think part of that used to be like the promise of, you know, New Year. Quite often we get on the New Year, New You bandwagon, and we feel that this is the time, you know, we must stop drinking, or we must stop smoking, or we must lose weight, or whatever. And there seems to be an awful lot of pressure to do these types of things when you know, when the New Year strikes. And of course, in actual fact, certainly for me, I don't often really feel like January's necessarily the best month to lose weight. If it's cold, I want to eat warming foods, and you know, stews, and I mean, stews aren't that bad for you, but you know, it's sort of a time where we typically want to eat you know, a bit more stodge. And yeah, so coming into this time of year, quite often people have maybe fallen off the bandwagon of the whole New Year's resolution thing, and that can be even more misery provoking, because we're like, oh, you know, I thought I was going to stop drinking, I thought I was going to do this, and then we don't. And everything feels, you know, rubbish and oppressive and horrible, and this is really coming in now this time. So, as I say, you know, January for me now, in fact, before I moved down to Cornwall, back to Cornwall, I used to make sure that I had a trip to Cornwall booked in for January, because for a start, it's beautiful down here in January. It's beautiful down here anyway. There's nobody here, but it also gave me something to look forward to, you know, when the new year came in. And so, you know, if you are struggling right now, I would suggest doing things like this. Get yourself outside, get yourself out in nature. Just being near the sea here is absolutely invigorating. It's been really, really cold here actually, which you know, it's not always terribly freezing cold down here, but it really has been quite icy with some big waves coming in now. But the power of the sea, you know, being also close to the negative ions, it's really, really good for you. Sea air is really, really good for you. you know, even if you don't live that close to the sea, I mean, in the UK, we're never that far from the sea, to be honest with you. Even if we're not living close to the sea, you know, sometimes we can take a day trip out. You're probably only ever about a couple of hours away from the seaside, anywhere in the UK. So get outside, get in nature, but most of all, give yourself something to look forward to. Start imagining and dreaming what your year is going to look like. If you don't want to, you know, if you haven't set New Year's resolutions, that's fine. I don't set them, but I do set intentions, and I intend for what I want to happen over the coming year, and I set a vision. I can see it very clearly in my mind's eye what it is I want the year to look like. I can see what I want to do, the type of person I want to be, you know, the people I want around me, the type of work I want to do, the types of things I want to have in my life. And, you know, so for me, for example, I'm renovating my house, and that's a project that's going to be amazing. We've done quite a bit of it already, but we've got some more to do. I can see what that looks like. I want to run retreats, so watch this space. And I do want to get a bit fitter. Unfortunately, I hadn't been very well in the New Year, so I did actually feel a bit miserable. Had a flare-up of fatigue and pain and stuff like that. But you know, as soon as I was able to, I made sure I get out every day for a walk of some kind. Some days I go further afield, and I only need to drive about 15 minutes to be close to the sea, and it's absolutely awesome. Sometimes I just stand here looking at it, and that's enough. And sometimes I go for longer walks along the cliff part, the coast path. So that's what I would suggest. Get a vision, get something to aim for. Make sure you can see it in your mind's eye. If you are somebody who doesn't find it easy to visualize, write it down. Write it as what you want to achieve in your life, and you know, head for it. Then you can start setting little goals and making sure that every time you do something, every time you start a week or start a new day, ensure that the things that you're doing is taking you closer towards that big vision. Okay? And it might be that you've got a huge vision, it's going to take a few years. Break it down. Have a vision for the part that you want to achieve this year. Certainly my big vision, you know, quite a bit of it is realised right now, but you know, out of necessity, because things take time, like renovating houses and stuff like that, there are going to be phases to it. And so my next phase is setting up my businesses down here, renovating more rooms in the house and running retreats. So that's it. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now. Have a lovely evening, whatever you do. Treat yourself, you know, have a nice warm bath, watch a film. I wouldn't say have a drink because I don't drink, but if you want to have a glass of wine, do. If it's not problematic for you. You know, get yourself out, even plan a day trip to the coast or to the woods or something like that, and get out in nature. Okay, take care, bye.